feel like glitches are little or whatever. I might need to re-ask questions, but the feed's been going well so far. All right, what up, Facebook Live, YouTube when it gets downloaded or uploaded there. Another interview for the JawsAtalk show with Florida's own. You're in Florida, right?
Yeah, Florida.
KEVER. This dude,
Was good.
this dude's definitely got some very unique, wild style pieces on Instagram. Um, Very consistent at doing like live Instagram drawings. Hella inspirational. Made me jump on my game a little bit more. So yeah, another dope Instagram artist. And go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
What's going on, world? It's your boy Trevor Ones. I know most of y'all follow me on Instagram, but a little bit about myself. I started in mid '90s. All right, New York City. I was living in New York City up until like 2000. Moved down here to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Took a little break from graffiti and everything. You know, work life and family and everything, and I started back up. You know, in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I started meeting a lot of cool heads through, Instagram, the social networks and stuff like that. Because I'm still working a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, up until like the last year and a half, you know, I actually started pushing myself. You know, developing like a newer style, something I
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit more comfortable with and stuff. You know,
Sweet.
so I mean, ain't much, but that's me.
Cool. Cool. Um, have you taken any art classes or is it all self-taught?
Just no, everything's pretty much self-taught. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just taking the trains to work in New York City. You know, that
Mm-hmm.
was my main inspiration. You know, in Wall-Star, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I had a DJ that lived across the street from me. He used to give me the VHS tapes.
Tight.
You know, we used to have Beat Street, Wild Style. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he didn't have Star Wars, so I didn't have my hands on to until like late into the game.
For
You know,
sure.
but those those two, I remember he had them all recorded on one VHS. So
Tight.
I used to watch that shit like a few times a week. You know,
Hell
get
yeah.
motivated and stuff. You know,
Yeah,
you know.
a classic, man. Definitely, that those videos definitely inspired me. What were some writers or some names that really got you inspired to start, testing out your art?
I mean, early on it wasn't much, but you know, it was like back in Brooklyn, you know, set up KCW, you know, seeing Mega. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I see these guys like outside my window, like, you know, every day I would see the throws, pieces and stuff.
Damn,
You know, I lived on the third floor, so the train would like pass by my house every morning,
prime.
or every 15, 20 minutes rather. But you know, set up, you know, Nace, Seek from Germany,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like the whole MSK crew, Rhyme, Revoke, you know, those are the guys that I looked up to when I first started, you know, doing graph, you
Mm-hmm.
know, back in high school. You know, I had a friend in school who used to write Wiser. You know, he used to let me rock out on his book and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I used to write DISC disc, and I did that for like 6 months, and then, you know, I saw he was writing Wiser, and I like the, you know, the whole the 5 letter,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, I want to do like a KEVER, you know, so I
Mm-hmm.
started rocking the KEVER because, you know, I really like the K, and then the R is similar, so you know, I
Mm-hmm.
got KEVER from there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started rocking out with that, you know.
Nice. Yeah, I always had fun with K's and R's. I mean, I don't really write them anymore, but my homie wrote Kura, and I always thought that was just the dope name. The Kera.
Yeah.
Those were just such fly letters. So, what inspired you to choose Kever? Was it mainly the letters, or did you?
It was mainly the letters, you
Mm-hmm.
know, just practicing, you know. I used to write, like I said, I used to write DISC. I wasn't too great with the D's and the C's, and I
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, I was having a hard time with it, you know. It just, I wasn't feeling it, you know.
Right.
So when I started changing it up, you know, I wrote Kevs for like very briefly, and then it went from Kevs to Kever, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Like, okay, to Kever, you know, I gotta
Yeah.
rock with this, and
Cool.
then
Cool.
it's been with me ever since.
All those letters are dope. I definitely know that C's were probably the last letter I got. um, but S's have always been fun. I still rock S's and shit. So yeah, it's a good letter combination. That's for sure, man. It's definitely dope. Um, okay, let's see. So what's some of the best advice someone that has given you, or some of the best advice you've come across in your writing career?
I mean, I haven't really received too much advice, but I mean, I've always got those people who say, you know what, just don't give up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you keep practicing. You know, eventually you'll get it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why you always see me every day. You know, I'm doing like one or two. If I got time, I'll bang out one or two pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do a full 2-pager. You know, if I even got more time, I'll do a little bit of traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Go rock a paint spot or whatever. But
Yeah.
like I said, I be working too much, and family and everything. So
Yeah.
every opportunity I get, I take it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tight to see you went out to that sticker thing a couple weeks ago. That was tight, man.
Yeah,
Everybody's.
shout out to 713. They showed a
Yeah.
lot of love out there.
Yeah.
Letting me rock out on the wall. It was pretty dope.
Definitely.
Cool peeps out there in Texas.
Hell yeah. What's something that like Style Wars got you stoked? Like was there any specific phrases or anybody in there?
The wild style. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just more like I don't know. It was just back then. It was just mad cool.
That was just
Like,
the best movie, right? Yeah.
Seeing these trains with like full trains. It's just like masterpieces.
Mm-hmm.
Like with stories.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It was mind boggling. I was like, man, I gotta do this shit.
Yeah. The dynamic between like Scene and Cap, I thought that was dope. Or the homie, I can't think of his name right now. I'm pretty fucking tired, but the dude with one arm and shit, he was so like animate about, his art and shit, and yeah, that was a really powerful movie, man. All around for hip hop.
And then that magazine came out too. It was breaking art.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was like the very first magazine I ever bought. It was actually a book, but I still have it till this day. I got like at least over 100 magazines. From back in the '90s and stuff. Because I used to go to the Soho, that graph shop. I know they changed the name now, but this is a long time ago. I used to go out there at least like once a month. Go grab some stuff and shit. Get some magazines.
Dope.
And back then, I think 12-ounce Profit was like the hit magazine. There's a lot of cool stuff back then. There's a lot has changed.
Yeah. I stocked up on Clout.
Yeah, I think I have some Clout too.
I think Clout.
Scribbles.
Yeah, I think.
There's so many.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. We were definitely, I mean, it seems like we joined the game pretty similar times, but we're definitely lucky to have that. Obviously, these kids are luckier nowadays because they can look in, whatever these social medias and watch, fools like us do live shit, But those magazines definitely were a good starting point for us. You can't say we were in the hardest of times, right?
Yeah, I mean, back then you want inspiration. Like I lived on 61st Street, so we had like a train ditch, and we used to walk that, miles, and it like walls and walls. And believe it or not, I used to do more pieces on walls back then because it was just like in my backyard. So I used to go, rack up a whole bunch of paint. We had like dollar paints and stuff. I used to get a whole bunch of cheap shit, whatever I get my hands on.
Yeah.
Hit the town with my buddy, just rock out for like 6 hours and chill, just peace. A lot of whack shit I did, but I did it.
Right, right. Oh yeah. Most of my bombing career was super whack, but it was the consistency and the numbers that I got up, and that's pretty much what, formed my recognition.
That's what it is. You just gotta hit that studio, hit the walls, hit the streets. You gotta be consistent.
Yep.
One thing every month, it's gonna take you years to perfect it.
Yep. And with that being said, I mean, obviously both of us have been a long time in the game, and it's really only recently that like shit's actually starting to move and like pay off, so.
Yeah, people start to notice it more and more,
yeah.
as time goes on, which is good.
For sure. So, how long have you been doing your craft?
I'd say since '95.
Okay.
I took a break in 2000 till like 2014, and then I started posting my shit online. I met my boy Riot, and then just having chats with him every day. I was just pushing myself. I had a lot of time in my hand too because I took a promotion down from Orlando to West Palm, and I started having more time on my hands to do what I want to do. So I took full advantage of it, So I just started piecing every day, until I developed, a better style, and tweaked it,
Right.
what I had in the previous,
Right. definitely. Cool. Where do you envision your art going, or what would you like to do with it?
I don't know. you could go so you could do so many things with
Mm-hmm.
art. I would like to start doing galleries.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years out.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely one of the things that I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially down here in Palm Beach. It's a beautiful city. They got
Yeah.
a lot of galleries and stuff. So I'm gonna try to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to travel and do more shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Planning on doing a show myself next year. In Orlando with me and my brother.
Tight.
So more information will be coming out. Early
Dope.
next year.
Dope. Canvases? Sticker
Yeah,
collection?
I want to do canvases. I
Mm-hmm.
have some ideas that I want to get out my head. It's just
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um,
Banging out canvases is a lot different from paper.
oh yeah. Absolutely. I feel like honestly, for me at least, there's more. It's easier to do stuff on canvases, and even when you
Yeah.
move to like larger canvases, you even have more than that. Um, those possibilities open up. Um, so what kind of mediums do you use other than or including like markers and stickers and
Yeah, I just
stuff
use
like?
my markers, spray
Mm-hmm.
paint. Occasionally, I use some soft pastels. I use those in the black book pages sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I do have paints. I don't mess too much with oil paints, but I would like to.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, anything I can get my hands on, pretty much. If it's around my desk, I'm gonna try to use it on whatever.
Right. I'm gonna give you a tip that that really helps me. I like acrylics for smaller canvases because they almost dry too quick. This is my personal opinion while doing larger canvases. So my cutoff is literally like 11 by what is it? 11 by 14. I'll probably use like acrylics, but anything larger I'll use oils just so you kind of have more time to like manipulate color and scheme stuff out. So when you move on to that stuff, I would suggest those tips.
Yeah, definitely, for
So,
sure. Yeah, I want to go big, definitely, with some big oil
mhm,
canvases. You'll probably see some of that stuff early next
mhm,
year. I'm gonna be
tight,
purchasing, a whole bunch of canvas.
mhm,
I'm working on a spot right now for
mhm,
next year to do a little, gathering or
yeah,
collection of my works and shit like that.
mhm,
So
mhm,
y'all definitely stay tuned for that.
yeah. One of my early art shows, I actually brought a bunch of my sketchbooks and just kind of laid them out on the table. So I think that'd be an interesting idea for you to do because I know you got a lot of dope art in your sketchbooks.
Yeah, I mean, I got like a few black books here that don't leave
Hmm.
the house, and I have a couple others. I think I have like 3 or 4 rotation right now,
Right.
and I have a whole book that me and Icky working on, and that'll probably be done in like 2 years. But
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
out there we're working on.
Tell Icky to get back at my messages, bro. No, we're cool.
Yeah,
I
man,
mean,
thanks for everything.
like, I'm on the crew and shit. I rock the EL crew. Uh, he messaged me talking about getting on the show, and I'm like, yeah, I'll send you information. I sent him information. He hasn't got back to me yet, so remind him for me. But
I'll shoot him a text, man.
yeah, yeah. But that's dope. That's dope. You kick it with him. Um, let's see. There was another question that I. Oh, what crews do you rock with?
As you know, I rock with ELC. I got
Mm-hmm.
my own crews, EMK. I got AS, S7, UVA,
Mm-hmm.
OFS. Those are the only crews I'm rocking with right now.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Dope, dope. How long you been on Evil Letters?
I'd say like a little bit less than a year, probably.
Really? Dude,
Yeah.
time flies, bro. I'm damn near close to 2 years on the crew.
Man.
It's getting there. It's crazy because like I interviewed Wave and he's ELC too, and he's like, oh, 6 months, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah,
The
he
crew.
hit me up. He hit me up like a year ago.
Hmm.
Chopped it up. We did some collabs. And
Yeah,
it's all from there.
yeah, yeah. Good dude. Definitely good dude. All right. What are some of the greatest memories you've experienced in your art career?
I don't have anything that's phenomenal. Hopefully in the future I will. Apart from going out to these art gatherings and stuff like that. That's pretty much the best part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Networking with people, meeting other people that have the same passion and motivation that
Yep.
you do. That's the best experience. Of it.
Yeah. Yeah, networking is a big thing. I think it's a bigger thing than a lot of people would. So a lot of people take for granted. You know what I'm saying? I think networking is a really big thing, and that's really kind of what I'm trying to do with these interviews. Just like having other artists kind of know more about certain artists, and then like just the network expands. So that's the point, man. Network is a really big thing. All right, and then on the flip,
those Instagram live videos help out too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have suggested for you artists out there, do a couple of videos, a couple of videos a week. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
hurt. You're already in the lab drawing, so just set your camera up.
Yeah. I think
Rock
it's
out. Some of your fans want to pick your brain.
exactly, and I think that's something that's awesome. That's hella awesome that you do. And again, it's definitely inspired me because like I'm always fucking doing some sort of art. You know what I'm saying? But like when you're live, you're talking to people, man. That's it stokes people out, man. It hella stokes people out. So big ups on that, man. Definitely big ups on that. And then on the flip side of greatest memories, what are some of the least great or worst experiences you've had in the game?
I was jumping the tracks one day. I was like, what, 13 or 14? I was jumping the track, catching some tags and stuff with my friends, and some undercover cops caught me.
Mm.
They they took me home and shit, and my mom was having a party and shit, and my mom was all fucking pissed off. Shit, she's like, what are you doing out on the streets?
Mm.
I guess that was like the worst memory, just laying her down. It didn't stop me, but just laying her down and shit.
Right. Did they catch you painting or like with cans?
I was just catching tags, and I hopped back on the tracks and stuff, and just checking pockets and stuff like that. But they didn't catch me in the act. But
Okay.
I had some other stuff on me, so they kind of like was like, we're gonna take you home. I was like a block away too.
Right. That's not too bad. You kind of got off easy.
No.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I've definitely had to take the runs through fields and shit and hiding under cars and shit. So,
Yeah, we had to jump roofs and shit. My buddy broke his arm jumping off of a roof.
Oh, no shit.
Getting chased by Jewish cops, and he jumped off. He broke his arm.
Mm.
Luckily, we was close, to the crib, so
Right.
he had to go to the hospital and all that shit. But,
Right.
There's a lot of those,
Yeah.
That's what you get,
Yeah. It's a fucking roller coaster either way you look at it. Cool. What are some projects you're working on or next things you have scheduled?
Just apart from Black Books, I've got a graffiti comic book, Black Book that I'm working on. It'll probably take me a couple years, though.
Bro.
I keep, picking at it. You know how it goes.
Bro.
I just, I got the Infamy art team, trying to get something worked out with them, do some events out there in Cali.
Mm-hmm.
I got my own personal event that I want to do, the sticker art graph show. That's hopefully next year, late next year.
Yeah.
Apart from that, just, casual book journeys and stuff,
Sure. Where in Cali? LA?
I just know Cali. I don't know exactly. They haven't figured out a location yet, but, you'll definitely know, when I find out more information.
Yeah. Is it like a crew thing or is it like a meeting or what?
No, it's gonna be. Then they're gonna do a graffiti event.
Oh, okay.
Outdoor events.
Yeah, keep me posted, man. I'd like to go check that out.
Yeah, definitely. See it,
If it's like walls, if it's walls, we could do a fucking Evil Letters, a little Evil Letters collab or production or some shit like that. I think that'd be pretty fresh.
Yeah, definitely.
Come down and make that shit.
I'm doing a ELC collab out in Orlando. We have the West Art District.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty dope spot, for artists to go out there. You could reserve a spot, go out there, paint with your buddies and all that stuff.
Dope. I'm curious about your comic book that you're working on. I literally bought myself like specific comic style paper yesterday. I don't know if you saw the one fucking picture, man. This shit is not I'm not, That's not really my style, but it's definitely making my brain, work differently. So I'm definitely interested to see what you come up with in the
Yeah.
comic
And I
style.
just like, comic books are nice. Like, you can go through it, like, you could just, I get a lot of motivation from there,
Oh,
just seeing the
sure.
characters or the line work and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It just inspires me. Letters
Mm-hmm.
is my thing, but I like
Yeah.
creating stories.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
it's fun to create a nice little story, like a
Right.
what if scenario. That's the name of my book, What If.
Okay.
And
Cool.
I just
Cool.
do a bunch of random shit in there.
Dope. Do you follow that dude Mayonnaise and Bread?
I think so. I'd have to check.
Mm-hmm.
I follow a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. No, he primarily does comic books. Like he has his own comic book out, and it's pretty dope. Again, it's about that networking thing. He doesn't really fuck with letters, but his characters are dope and his storyline. So again, just another good person to like touch base with if you have any real questions. If you ever get in this to get stuck or whatever, I would say touch base with that cat.
Definitely recommend people doing collaborations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely helps develop yourself.
Yep.
Working with other artists, working with other styles. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have to switch up your style a little bit. Tweak your letters.
Right. And mindsets.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Definitely.
so cool, man. Good shit. Good shit. All right. Words of wisdom for the younger generation.
Uh, just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I do. I just do it every day as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And just don't give up. Eventually, you'll get better.
Mm-hmm.
Get more comfortable with your work. And you'll like it. Sometimes a lot of people, I did this, piece, but I don't like it. Like you might tweak, this letter, that letter, to make
Right.
it better. But don't give up. Art is art. You
Yeah.
do one piece, you don't like it. Guess what? You can do another one.
Right. I kind of want to add on to that and, continue doing what you're doing and finish whatever you're working on. I think that's
Yes.
like an important tip. Because like even I will still do pieces that I'm not digging, but if I show it to anybody, they like it for some reason. So I just figure finishing your project that you're working on, you're gonna have people enjoy it, and it's gonna rewire your brain to actually finishing projects. So definitely.
I'm usually working like 2, 3, 4 pieces at a time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I throw one in the back burner because I end up starting another one.
Right.
It takes longer.
Right.
But I don't give up on them.
Right.
Eventually, I get back to them.
Right. What inspires your fills? You have very unique fills, and I don't.
To be honest with you, sometimes I'm very random. If you catch my live stream, sometimes I just have viewers. Hey, select. Give me 3 colors.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 3 colors. And I go with whatever comes out.
Super dope, man. It's fucking awesome that you do that. But yeah, you definitely do like in your 3Ds or in your shades and shit. It's definitely a unique approach. So again, I applaud you on the unique approach to your styles, man, for sure. All right. Other than art, what are other things that you're into?
Well, not much besides my family.
Mm-hmm.
I do play some video games here and there, Marvel vs. Capcom.
Okay.
Kind of addicted to that. I ain't good, but I'm addicted to it.
Do you do that Xbox Live stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm on PlayStation now, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we do. We got a nice group that we usually
Cool.
play like once a week and shit.
Cool. Yeah, I've been trolling fools saying that I got an Xbox Live name and people should look for me, but I'm just trolling, bro. I don't play video games like that. So if anybody sees me saying some shit, I'm just trolling. What's your PlayStation whatever? If people wanted to
It's KEVER 1 CBMK.
Word. So if you play video games, go Marvel vs. Capcom against KEVER.
Nights or Saturdays or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't too busy.
Good shit. Good shit. All right. Let's see. Cool. We're pretty much at the end of the list right now. Is there anything else you would like to say, rant about, raise awareness on?
Not much, you know. Just keep doing your thing, you know. Don't
Mm-hmm.
let nobody tell you no. You know, just keep fighting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's all. It's all it's about, you know.
Sure.
Don't give up.
I have a question. How was your experience through the fucking the tornado and all that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The hurricane. It was all right, you know. Just a whole bunch of trees fell over and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, you know. I got a 3-story townhouse, so I was pretty good, you know. A
Okay.
lot of people, you know, further down south were less unfortunate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Had their house, you know, torn down and stuff like that. You know, it could have
Mm-hmm.
been worse. You know, I
Right.
didn't evacuate, obviously, but
Right.
you know, it could have been worse. So thankfully, you know, we just lost power for like an hour, you know,
Oh,
and we lost cable and phone for like a day.
that's not too
But
bad. It seems like Evoc had it a little bit worse. It sounded like
yeah,
might have been a
yeah,
couple days.
yeah, because it went straight through Orlando and like it just kind of like skipped over us. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we were supposed to get a direct hit, but that thing looped around. So
Damn, dude.
you know,
Well,
yeah.
I guess you guys missed the Donald Trump throwing motherfucking paper towels at you.
Yeah.
Did you see that shit? What he did in Puerto
No, I
Rico?
didn't.
Oh man,
No, in Puerto Rico, I didn't get this. I didn't
man.
catch up on the news
It's
last night or the day
dude,
before.
I don't know when it was, but I just saw a video yesterday, and he's like in Puerto Rico, like supposedly passing out supplies, but there was a clip of him just throwing paper towels. It was the most disrespectful shit ever, dude. But um,
I'm glad y'all
I
catching
won't
the
rant
news there.
about that. I rant about that shit on when me and Jimmy Hopkins are talking. So, but I'm glad that you didn't get hit that bad with that fucking storm
Yeah.
because that shit was crazy.
We got another one coming too, so
Really?
this one skips it. Yeah.
Damn,
I think
damn.
it's
And what?
Hurricane Nate or something.
All right. That's wild, dude. What part of Florida are you in?
In West Palm Beach.
Oh, okay.
It's about hour away from Miami.
All right. Cool. Do you travel to Miami a bunch for any specific reason?
Sometimes, you know, I'll probably be going out there, you know, in a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got that grap event going on. They just had meeting of stylists too, like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was my lady's birthday. I couldn't get to go out there.
Right.
And I'll probably go out there and check out the dope pieces and stuff.
Cool.
You know, I saw a lot of it online. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Dope.
But in December, first week of December, I'll probably be out there trying to get a little spot or something.
Cool.
We'll see
Cool.
what's good, you know.
Nice. All right, and then the last thing I have is how can people follow you or reach you or contact you about products and
reach
stuff?
me on, you know, reach me on the gram, you know. I always respond to everybody. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you already know KEVER1's Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you guys want to reach me directly, just shoot me a DM. You know?
And let's see, you sell art with stickers or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, usually everything that I make, you know, if it's not in books, you know, I offer it up to sell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't like stocking up on a whole bunch of stuff. So, you know, if I make something, you see something you like it, you know, just hit me up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do a lot of pieces. My drawer is full
Cool.
of stickers and pieces and canvas. So,
Dope.
you know, there's certain stuff that I don't get rid of, and there's just certain stuff that, you know, I can. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, cool, man. That's all the questions I have for you. I definitely hella appreciate it. That was a quick little run through breakdown. So yeah, man, big ups. Thanks for doing the interview. I think it's really good for people to like hear dope artists, you know, because you know, just to prove we're normal people too. You know what I'm saying? So, right on. Right on. Well, cool, man. Big ups, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Peace out.
All right. Peace. Thanks.